Hi, this is us showing you some of our shrink film, and this particular one is the white inkjet inkjet film that you can put through your printer. So you can use all of your fonts, you can use your photographs, you can scan in pictures and shrink them down for key rings and things like that. So I've just done a load of greetings with happy birthday on, and then I've cut this one out. It says happy birthday to you, so I'm going to do it separately, and then this is how I put them into the oven. So I do it on a special tray that I keep just for shrink plastic, greaseproof paper. I put greaseproof paper on top. This is my thing, I always do this, I put a rack on top of that. So you've got space for it to move, but it doesn't curl up too much. It's not 100% necessary, but I do it for my peace of mind. And then I put that in the oven at 130 degrees in my oven, in the top oven, without the fan, for about 5 minutes. And when it comes out, you can put it on a card so it shrinks to that. So that's the original, and that's how it shrank down to. So it makes fantastic little, if you have a whole sheet of this, you can do a quick birthday card within minutes. So nice and easy.
And a really personalised birthday card, because you can write whatever you want.
Yeah, you can write the recipient's name and everything on there. Okay, so before I do anything else, I shall do some shrink. So, excuse me. There we go. Right, I'm going to shrink a flower. So all the shrink plastic die cuts beautifully. This is the mat, and I've die cut a flower on it. To shrink it, you can use, I'm going to use a heat gun this time around as opposed to the oven. The oven gives a more consistent finish. The heat gun is a little bit more scary and unpredictable. So you can either use barbecue sticks, you can use a wooden block, which is my preferred method. You can use our multi-purpose Teflon tool because it was to keep the heat, and you can also use our pencil tool. And the pencil tool is really good for holding things down, particularly if you want to do heat embossing afterwards, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so I'm just going to heat shrink this first. You want a lowish heat over a broad area. So I'm using this heat gun, it's got two settings, so I'm using it on the lower setting. You can use the hairdryer type ones as well. So I'm going to start at one end, and I'm going to heat set it, and you'll see, oops, if it comes up, just keep the heat on it. It's going to start moving. Okay, and then I'll just move down the image. You can see how scary it can get because it'll just move around quite a bit. So once it's shrunk, it doesn't shrink again. Okay, and just move it down and just do it just to the end of the stalk. Put the heat on it. And when I'm happy, I'm just going to flatten it by just putting it on there. I'm not putting any weight on it. I'm just going to flatten it like that. And that is, oh, it's still a bit warm, so it's still pliable while it's warm, so you can shape it while it's still warm. And that is your shrunk one. So this one was a similar sort, it's not quite the same flower, but it was a similar sort of size, and you can see the difference.
It's a big difference, isn't it?
There is a big difference on that. So I didn't pre-colour this, so that's how it comes out. But what I am going to do is going to put some silver and heat embossing powder on it. So once it's shrunk this, you can put heat embossing powder on it.
Because the shape won't change again, will it?
It will do when it heats, but you're going to do it quite quickly, so it doesn't distort too much. So this time around, I'm going to be using the heat. It's going to be a sharp, fiercer heat, but for a shorter amount of time. Okay, so I'm just going to put my heat embossing powder on. So I need a clear ink pad. It could be your messy one, as mine is. Okay, and then just put some silver embossing powder on. Tap off any excess. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my pencil tool this time, so I can hold it in place. And then I'm going to use a fierce heat for a short amount of time. Okay, and you can see the heat emboss. You can have a nice texture, so it heats up just like that, and it's still warm, so it's still pliable at the moment, so you just wait till that's cool. So I'll just lift that up so Maggie can focus into it. Okay, once it's while it's cooling. Okay, so you can see, so I've got some texture on there. If you wanted to, you could put another coat of heating embossing powder on there if you wanted to. You won't need any more than 2.
And could you put...
And then that's now cool, so that's now quite firm.
Hold on.
And then you can put that...
I can't see it, Kate.
Sorry, like that's quite firm now. Standing up. And
Yep.
then you can put that on a card. So this card has the flowers cut out, so it's in our black shrink. This is in the matte finish that I've just done with heating embossing powder. This is done in white with alcohol inks, and then I've stamped a greeting onto one of our belly bands and shrunk that, and that makes quite a quick and easy card. And all of these were shrunk in the oven first, and then I put the powder on top. And then if I shine it, there's a sneaky peek of the Pink Frog limited edition holographic card, which is a one-day special coming up later in the week.
And it's beautiful.
It really is lovely. Okay, so I'm going to colour some bloom. So the bloom is on a A4 printed sheet, so that's some of the sheet. And I've cut out some elements, and I'm just going to colour them in very quickly with Distress Oxides. So I'm using abundant coral and squeezed lemon. So I'm just going to go around the edge. And don't forget, with shrink plastic, your colour intensifies as it gets heated. So you don't need to overdo the colouring, otherwise it tends to look dark and black. Okay, so that's a little bit of yellow in the centre and abandoned coral around the outside. And I'm going to use my block. And I'm using it on the lower setting, and then I'm going to heat shrink it using the heat gun. So I'll find it. There we go. You can see it's just about starting to go. Keep going. If you want it shaped, you can leave it like that, or if you want it flat, like that. And that is your element. Can you see the size difference? So that's right. That's the original size, and it's shrunk down to that. So if I take that out and put that there, and you can see the size difference. So a very quick and easy embellishment. If you put 2 holes in it, you can have buttons. So you make little buttons out of it as well. Okay, so another thing you can do is stamp into it. So I've just got a background stamp here. This one's from Indigo Blue. I'm just going to ink it out with some stays on. And then I'm going to heat set my gold. This is gold. So I've just cut out a circle using the gold metallic. And I'm going to heat it. So you can do this bit in the oven if you like, but what you need to do then is reheat it so it's warm and pliable afterwards. So just keep heating it. You want it to, so it doesn't double back on itself. Keep faith. Keep going, and it should come back out to a circle shape. You can see it's just relaxing again. You can see how shiny it's coming when I move it around. And then it's nice and soft. And as soon as you take the heat away, put your stamp on. And just press in for a few minutes, just to keep it cool. And just for a few seconds. And just peel that away. And that gives you another little embellishment like that. That look fantastic on mixed media.
Wow.
Or an embellishment for a card. It's perfect for using for any of your stamps, but this looks really nice.
Hi, I'm just going to show you a few colouring techniques using the super sanded shrink film, which I really love. Now, if I lift it up a little bit, can you actually see the texture on it just here?
Let's go right way in. Yeah, we can see that.
Okay, it's just slightly roughened, which means it's better for holding different colouring mediums. And what I've done, I'm going to remove the black sheet now, so it might need to just focus in. I've stamped some Laurel Birch floral images, which have matching dies. Now these are actually, I know they're on her Chanda website. If you go under Stampendous, and you'll find them there. So I've stamped these out already. Now you'll see here, I dropped my stamp, so I made a mess on the super sanded. But don't worry, if you've got Stays On cleaner, I'd stamp with Stays On, you can use a damp cloth, just use it to wipe it off and let it dry, and then you'll be able to reuse it later. So I'm going to start with a mixture of things. Now this one here is actually done with acrylic pens. Okay, so it looks quite shiny, and on the other side it's got more of a matte finish.
No, it's not getting the focus. That's it. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So we'll start off with just some acrylic pens. So I'm just going to go in and really just pop them on. You can see it's got, the application is actually quite wet, and you think, oh, that's not going to dry, but it does. And I really love this because you can get so many different effects. So we're just going in. And you can see that the shrink film is actually allowing your acrylic paint to stay on there. Normally with a glossy surface it's quite difficult and things bubble. So that's that one. Okay. So then what have I got next? I've got a Phil Martin's pens. Now these are watercolour, and watercolour traditionally are really difficult to get to stay on shrink plastic. So we're going to start out, we'll start out with quite a light colour. Don't forget the colours intensify as you do it. So we'll go on here, and you can see it's already starting to go on, whereas if you were on a traditional shiny piece of shrink, I've got a piece here, you can see that's going on there. It's still bubbling up a little tiny bit, but not much. So now you can go in with a darker colour, just down here, intensify the colours a little bit more. You can see they're staying on. And then I'm just going to wiggle that up a bit more, just pull the colour up. Do another one here. In fact, let's have a lighter blue. That's so light you can hardly see it. But don't forget, as Kay said earlier, colours will intensify. And then we're going with this colour, which is a slightly darker. And then a darker one. And then you can go back in with your really light one, start from that end, and then just start to pull out. When it dries and you shrink it, you'll have a graduated effect. So that's that one. The next one is watercolour pencils, and I'm using Albert Dürer watercolour pencils here. Just going in with a lighter green all the way over, and you can see, well, you can actually hear as well, but you can see that it's picking up and holding on to the, actually holding on to the crayon, and I'm not pressing very hard. Going with a slightly darker colour. Very dark, just down here. And traditionally, if you're working on something with like a shinier surface, the colours would actually disappear as you put the next one on, but these aren't, they're staying in place, and I'm going in with a lighter one. And that's your leaves there. And you can also do it with alcohol markers as well. Now, because it stays on, if your alcohol marker touches the ink, it will move and blur, but you can get around it. You just have to be careful as you do it. Oh, that pen's a bit dead. Let's try this one on a bit of, just on here, right, okay. So you can go in, and this is going to be really intense and bright because it's a very bright colour, so just don't touch your stays on. have moved a little bit there, but as long as you're careful, it will go in. And I just really like the texture of this because it seems to hold anything that you throw at it, really. And you get a good coating. What you can do then, if you want, is go in with a... Let's try that one. Go with a slightly darker colour. Just blend it in.
That's going to be really intense, isn't it?
It's very intense, yeah. So, but if you're going to do it, you might as well go for it. And then I'm just putting in a little bit of a yellowy colour there, which is just going to soften that down a little bit because it might be too bright. Just get rid of those lines. Okay, so that's like that. So that's just using different colouring mediums, and then these are the different effects. I don't know if we're able to come in. So that's using, and you get a different result either side. One side's more like a textured opaque side, the other side is shinier. So that's our acrylics. Oh, that's Phil Martin's, that one. Okay. So this one's coloured with...
It's the other way.
Oh, other way.
Too far now. Too far.
How about there?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Perfect. Okay. Right, so this one has been coloured in with Phil Martin's pens, and that's actually this larger unicorn image there. Okay. But don't forget as well, because it's clear shrink plastic, you can actually have your image that way or that way.
You can't see it. You go in the middle of those two. That's it.
You can either have your image facing that way or that way, which enables you to have more embellishment effects on your cards. So that's Phil Martin's, that's alcohol inks, that is polychromos, that is watercolour, and that's your acrylic pens. And I'm just going to show you how I used them just very quickly, just to finish them off. So that's my little embellishments there. Here's a little card I've made earlier, and this is a sneaky peek of something coming up on our next Stampender show, the unicorn, Laurel Birch. Now, when it comes with that, it comes with a huge, well, it's not huge, but that's the size of the sentiment, okay? Now, for me, that's too big, so I shrunk one down already. And as Kay says, if you want really, really perfect precision shrinking, probably do it in the oven. I did this with a heat gun, so it's not quite as round as I would have liked it, but it's still a much better size to fit on my card. So I'm going to glue this on. And then I've got flowers here, all the different flowers that I've coloured and cut out. Oh, that was done with an embossing folder, and then I just put Distress Oxides over the top, and that is a 6x6 inch cover a card shrunk down on it as well, and that's stamped with hybrid inks. So all I do now, this is why I really love it, because you can just create your own little embellishments that are perfect to fit whatever you're making.
So would you use a heat gun to
Yes,
stick?
yeah, I would do.
You can use glossy accents as well.
You can, and everybody knows I love my glossy accents, but
It takes a little while to dry.
takes a little while to dry, so we'll just shove that one under there, and we'll just keep going. But I just think this is such a different, you can create your own embellishments, it's such a different way. I'm going to stick on there. Should we have another leaf on? I'll have another leaf here. Is that going to fall off? Yes. And don't stick the glue on your finger like I've just done, because it will hurt.
We'll
I
find the
just
accident.
remembered now.
We'll find the accident book.
That's why I don't use use a glue gun that much. Right, okay, I'm going to put a little bit more just to balance it out. One on there. I'm going to take my tiny unicorn. Now I can either have him facing that way going off the page, or I can have him facing that way, and I think I'll have him facing that way. Just get rid of that bit of glue. Oh. And pop him on there. Because he's opaque and coloured in, you won't really see the glue. And then we'll just pop that one there. And that is a very simple card, but it's finished off with embellishments that you've made and shrunk to fit using your shrink plastic, shrink film.
We're going to make a 3D flower. So I've cut out a couple of shapes. I've done black and white, and I've got a bead that I've threaded through on some wire like that. So I'm just going to thread a smaller flower on first. Okay, and then I'm going to shrink it. So I'm going to use my tip-on tool. I'm doing each individual petal first.
Are you using the lower heat?
I'm using the lower heat, so I've got some bit more control. Okay, and then I'm going to lift that up. Oops, wrong one. That's it. Okay. Okay, it's shrinking the wrong way, but never mind, we'll get there.
It's like a cone flower, isn't it?
It is. It's
yeah,
like a cone
really
flower.
effective.
So I can just drop those down. That's stuck a little bit on that one, which is annoying. That's it. So I'm really flattening. You can see how it flattens out. So just keep the heat on it, and it flattens it out. So when you get to that point, you can just put that like that, and you just so it sets. So it sets like that. Now I do have asbestos fingers, so I can take the heat. If you can't, just put a pair of gloves on. Some rubber gloves on for that.
That's really effective.
And that now is not going to move anywhere. That's now a little embellishment you put on there. And then of course you can do is put another layer on. That. So I'll take the black away and put the white on so then you can see. And again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do each flower individually. Take it and turn that way. So just keep the heat on it. So shrinking a bit more. And just move it down. So if it twists around a bit too much, it's going to be like a natural flower, so that's fine. Okay, I've just got one that's it, it's now uncurling. Can you see how it's uncurling? Okay, and it's nice and soft. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to bring those up. Just move those across. And then you can shape it until that's it, and that makes quite a really effective little flower. So if you want to reshape it, just use your heat gun again and just keep the heat on it. So just keep going. The thing about this film is if you keep the heat on it, it will usually flattens out and does what it wants to do. So just put some heat on it. And then just move it like that, and if again, just a drop of glue on that will stop it moving, but that's shrunk on itself. So that makes a nice little flower.
Right, I'm just going to zoom into that, okay? That's really, really effective.
Yeah, on the top of a box or anything like that. So it makes a nice little gift, as part of a gift thing. So if it does come off, just to put a drop of glue in there just to keep it in place. And that's that embellishment done.